right? So in B part, it should be the content management software that we need. So it's content management software which we need to create dynamic website, because in a dynamic website there are many different things and complex things that we have to do. Like we have to create a commenting area, we have to create where the photos can be uploaded, or likewise like the interacting things should be there inside the website. So this content management system will help us very much when we are creating that kind of contents. And the part C, it says text, images, and sound are components of web contents, right? Text, image, and sounds means those are the web contents. Those are not web hosts, those are not domain names, right? So it should be the web content. Regular updating of a website is an important part of regular updating. Now you remember the cycle. Updating happens once you like host the website. It is something belongs to the maintenance part, right? So regular updating is of a website is an important part of maintenance, right? So these will be your answers. Let's check with the marking scheme as well. Yes. So A, it is web host, B, it is content management software, C, it is web content, D, it is maintenance. So if you got all correct, you are going to receive 0.5 into 4, 2 marks, right? Okay, so moving forward for your HTML page, right? So we have to figure out what are the things regarding these tags. So as you can see, human elephant conflict. Now that is inside the head section, right? So the first one is going to be a title, right? Because it is inside the head section, right? So yes, so it is going to be a title, and then after the body, now the body means the output that you can see, right? It's better they have shown the title as well. Web browser එකේ තියෙන උඩ කොටසක් පෙන්වනවා නම් හොඳයි. එතකොට තමයි අපිට title එක කියලා හරියටම figure out වෙන්නේ. But logically we can think it's the human elephant conflict when it is having inside the head. Those are not going to be header tags. Those are going to be title. And after the body, you have 2, 3, and 4, 3 things, right? So inside the 4, face equal Arial, color equal black is there. Now face equal Arial, color equal black means those are the attributes of the font tag. So the fourth one is going to be the font, right? And if you go through the content, like the HTML output that is provided, and it has human elephant conflict in Sri Lanka at the middle with big letters. So like having big letters or having big fonts is that it means we have to use an H tag, right? Even we can manage the size of the font using the size attribute inside the font tag, but they haven't used a size attribute inside this. So therefore, either 3 or 2 going to be a header tag. You can use one of those, right? So I'm going to take 3 as H tag. It can be H1, can be H2. The maximum that you can go is H3, because after H3, it's getting a little bit smaller, right? So it's H1 or H2 is the most appropriate. And it is being center aligned. So the second tag, we can say it is the center, right? So 4 is font, 3 is H1, and 2 is center. And you can toggle the third and second. So if second is H1, then 3 is going to be center, right? So then after it says center again, IMG 5. So 5 is stand for SRC, right? We know that when an IMG tag is there should be an attribute. There must be an attribute which is called SRC, which defines the name of the image or the path plus name of the image, right? Image එක වෙන තැනක නම් තියෙන්නේ. එතනට යන පාරක් තියෙනවා. Right? මේ folder එකෙන් කියලා slashes දාලා වෙන් කරලා තියෙනවා. So it's going to be like that. So it is under the SRC attribute, right? So then, yeah. Yeah, then we have this 6 and 7. Again, we are finding a 4. So we already work out with the 4. The 6 and 7. So 6 is and space, and there is a line equals something, and there is some sentence. So if you look at your output, you can see it is a paragraph, and it has a specialty. This is being aligned by both the sides. So aligning by both the sides means alignment should be justified, right? On that case, now 6 is going to be a paragraph anyway, and 7 is going to be justified because it is being, the alignment is working as a justified one, right? Depathema alignment, so it is a justified. Hold on. I need to check whether it is justified or justified, right? Let's see when it comes to the marking scheme, right? So then the paragraph is getting over. Then the place that you can find another number is the 7th. No, we have talked about the 7th as well. And it is the 8th. So 8 is after the A tag, and it should be an attribute, and the component, the value that is given to it is a URL. So then 8 is must be href. So when we use an anchor tag, it is a must to use a href. Otherwise, our link is not going to work, right? So 8 is going to be an href. Okay, so that is how the things are going to be in this source code. Let's move to the marking scheme and see how it happens. So yeah, it is justified, not justified. It's justified. So first one is title, second one is H2, and third one is center. Fourth is font, fifth is SRC, sixth is P, 7 is justify, and 8 is href. So 1 mark for each correct answer. So 8 marks altogether will be there, right? And marking scheme says with H2 in any of them 2 marks, without H2 1 mark. Yeah, okay. So like yeah, it's not very justified thing to give the marks only for H2. Then have gone with the H1 as well, right? අපිට බෑනේ ස්කේල් කරනකොට හිතා ගන්න මොකක්ද කියන එක නේද? Right. So I'm moving to the next question. So the next question is about the Excel, and it is discussing, or like it is illustrating some prices of the tea. Maybe. So let's move to that particular question. Yeah, here it goes. The given spreadsheet segment shows the distribution of monthly tea price for the year 2015, right? So this particular thing, just a second, people. Right, so this particular thing describe you the prices which is being varied over the months. It is starting from 2014 December and goes until 2015 December, right? And there is a column called price difference, and at the very first row it says average monthly price of 1 kilogram of tea. Sorry. Then it says use the above spreadsheet segment to answer the following questions. A formula of the form equal function 1 cell 1 colon cell 2 is written in cell B16. Cell B16 means right over here, right? To calculate and display the average price of tea for the year 2015. Write down the relevant terms for function 1, cell 1 and cell 2. Yes. Now, if it is calculating the average, the function should be average, right? So function 1 should be average, and to a function average, we should say what is the range that we need to consider when calculating the average. So for calculating the average, the eligible function or the eligible range that we can go is from starting from this particular place comes up to these particular places. Don't take the 2014 December because it says for the year 2015. So you should start it from B4 colon B15. So it can be other way around as well. B15 colon B4. Doesn't matter. So cell 1 is going to be B4. Cell 2 is going to be B15 or vice versa. Right? So as the marking scheme shows, average B4 colon B15, you can write the entire equation or the formula, or you can name the components, like function 1 is average, cell 1 is B4 and cell 2 is B15, right? So 3 marks for that particular answer. And the next question, it is something we got the concentration previously, right? So the price difference of average monthly price for the month of December is calculated as follows. See, Ami is asking me to come and watch TV. Will you run and watch TV?
Oh, it's my color.
Your colors are gone. Your colors are the tummy, baby. Turn it on. Control. She will give you. Right. So the price difference of tea of the December and November month. Now, the problem is they are asking it to, or like they are asking it to be done using the function. So I told you this sum function can be taken, to do the subtraction as well. We talk about this previously, right? So like function 2 is going to be sum anyway. Cell 3 and cell 4 is the one that we need to figure out, right? So how we are going to say? So you can say equal sum, and the relevant cell addresses are going to be B14, which is this, and the B15, which is this, right? So this is, you have to like what? Subtract the November month price from the December month price, right? So you have to say, since it is the sum function, you have to say B15 comma minus B14, or you can go the other way around, equal sum minus B14 first, comma B15, right? So since this is the very first time that the students was facing, they were like given the mark. So they said 1 mark if this question has been attempted, right? Utsaha kala තියෙනවා නම් ලකුණු දීලා තියෙනවා, right? And again they have given the marks for the equation as well, equal B15 minus B14. But today, or like when you are facing to your examination, be careful because now this is being discussed, so you should know, right? So be careful, right? So 1 mark for a correct answer, or if you attempt it, you can have the 1 mark. And in the third question, they are asking what's happened with this particular formula copied into the C4 cell. What would be the formula displayed in cell C4 if the formula in C15 is copied to the cell C4, right? So now this particular formula is in this particular cell, right? So what we are going to do is we are going to copy this for this particular place. Right, this is going to be copied for this particular cell. So it's easy. You have to be careful when you have to understand now this particular formula is going to copy along a column. So the letters are not going to change because it is in the same column that we are going to move. And we are moving upwards. Moving upward means your numbers, your number, the row header is going to get decreased when you are moving upwards. Right? So 15 is going to become 4 when it is coming there, because 15 is going to decrease like 14, 13, 12, like here you are going to have 4. So then the other one is minus B14. So minus B14 will be minus B3. So the answer is going to be equal sum B4 comma minus B3, right? Or the other way around. And again, if you have attempt this, they have given you the marks, right? So only thing, you have to attempt it according to this particular marking scheme. And as the next question, they are asking what is the most suitable chart type that they can use to show the average monthly price of tea for the year 2015. So now here it is just one column that you need to show. So someone may say, okay, pie chart can be taken, but pie chart can be taken, no problem. But pie chart is not a good chart type to show the fluctuation or the now this particular prices are being like fluctuated, like going up and down. So to show a fluctuation, a pie chart is not a very good one, right? It shows you the percentage, right? So the question asks, name 2 appropriate chart types available in spreadsheet software to show the variation. Like variation means how it goes up and down, right? For that particular purpose, you can use column charts, line charts, and bar charts, those kind of things, right? So 2 of those, right? So like bar chart, line chart, and column chart, and any 2 of those will give you 3 marks, right? Right, remember now, like either bar chart, line chart, or bar chart, column chart, or line chart, column chart, should goes like that, right? So it's going to be 3 marks for that. Okay, then the very last one, is talking about what would be the data range. What cell range would you use for the horizontal axis to draw the chart in your answer for above? So like if you draw a column chart, what will happen? Your column chart is going to be something like this. And what is there to be represent? So this will represent the price. I'm not going to use the actual price in your Excel sheets. So like there will be some price. And in the x-axis, the horizontal axis is going to be the months, like this will come as 215 Jan. This is 215 Feb, likewise. Right? So the x-axis for a column chart is going to be the data range is going to be the month range, which is starting from A4 to A15. And if you consider a bar chart is going to be like this. And in that case, this axis, the horizontal axis, shows the price figure. So for that particular reason, that horizontal axis can take the ranges from B4 to B15 as well, right? So any answer, like one of the range are written, you can take the marks. Either it should be A4 colon A15 or it should be B4 colon B15, right? So that is how the 10 marks are there. So sum it up and see how it goes. Right. So moving to the next question, question number 5. So question number 5 is about the database, right? And it says a school band has a collection of instruments and they are lent to students who do not have the instrument but want to be part of school band. The school band maintains a database to manage the lending of instruments to the students. The database contains table as given below. So instrument table, it is describing about the instruments. So it has a particular ID, the instrument name, and the date of receipt. And the student table contains the details of the student, the name and the grade, and the particular ID for that student. And the borrowing table has 3 things: the date borrowed, and who has been borrowed this, which indicates by this ID, and which instrument are being borrowed, which is indicated by the IID. So they are asking list 2 primary key fields and their respective table names in the above database. Now, if you take the instrument table, you can directly go for the IID because it is the most appropriate column for you to choose, which has unique values and it contains a number, and you can see the values inside that column are unique, right? We cannot choose the instrument column because trumpet is being repeated, and again name is not a very good column to take as a primary key. And received on date, and you can see that there are 2 identical dates inside it, and again date is not a very good column to act as a primary key. So for this IID in instrument table, so the very onto the very same logic, student table SID is going to be the primary key for the student table, since it has unique values inside it. And when it comes to the borrowing table, like we can't take any individual column as a primary key because everything is having repetitive values, right? For date, it's the second and the third. For IID, it is the first and the third. For SID, again, it is the first and the third, right? So when you consider it individually, everything repeats. And there is a special scenario here as well. Like අපිට පුරුදු නේද ඊළඟට අපේ ප්‍රැක්ටිස් එක තියෙන්නේ එහෙනම් foreign key වෙලා තියෙන IDs දෙක අරගත්තා නම් හරි කියලා. But here that also not going to work. See, if you take these two together as a composite primary key, I003 S004 is there in the first line, and again I003 S004 is there in the third line. So IID and SID together cannot perform a primary key. So in that case, we have to consider all the columns in the table to perform a primary key. So that means date, IID, and SID. All three are performing the primary key, right? So like this happens in a very rare case, but things can be happen on that manner as well. Now, when it comes to the marking scheme, this is the answer for only two tables. They haven't talked about this, what you call the last table. They say IID for instrument table and SID for the student table, right? Nothing with the lending table. So 3 marks, like 1.5 for each answer. And the next one is asking is like they have received 2 drums to their store, and it is asking what would be the tables that should get updated. So it is about instruments. So like when it comes to the instruments, it is anyway the instrument table should be updated. Aluth instruments dekak hambuna, and you should have like 2 separate lines for that 2 drums. One line is not sufficient because there is no column to indicate how many of them are there, right? So like therefore 1004 and 1005 IIDs will be that, and then you have to say what the as the instrument, you have to say drum, and then you have to record the date, and it should be on the correct format, right? So the date should be written like this: 2 12 216, right? So it is the only table that we need to update, neither like it is not talking about any student, and it is not talking about any borrowings, right? So you can go with that and say instrument table is the one which need to be updated, and this is the way it updates, right? So you will be getting 1 mark for mentioning the table, and you will be getting 2 marks for the separate recordings or the separate records which is shown in your answer. So moving to the third one, and it is talking about a student and the borrowing. There is a student called Saman, joins the band on 8th December 2016 and borrows a trumpet on the same day. So there are several different details that we can recognize. The Saman joins the band on the 8th December 2016 and borrows a trumpet on the same day, right? So it is talking about a student who has been joined into the band and the borrowing. So Now, if you consider the student table, there is no one called Saman, so you should have that particular record added into the student table, as well as there should be a record of the borrowings, right? So now this particular SID can be S006 or anything other than 4 and 5, right? Rule එකක් නැහැ හරියට ඊළඟ එක වෙන්න ඕනේ කියලා. That can be anything, like other than 4 and 5, right? So the name should be Saman, and grade, they haven't mentioned the grade, so you can keep it empty, or you can assume and assign something. That doesn't matter. Marking schemes has given the marks for both the scenarios. And in here again, your date should be in this format, so it should be 08/12/2016, and you should have the IID, which you have like they are saying it is a trumpet that is being borrowed. So you can have either I001 or I003, one of those, because he is borrowing a trumpet, just one, right? So I'm going to put I001 and the student ID. Student ID is going to be the ID that you have mentioned right over here, right? So it's going to be S006 according to my doings, right? So it is like this: S006 Saman something. So S006 can be changed. The 6 instead of 6, you can have any number other than 4 and 5. And the records should be like this. One of those should be there to indicate what is being borrowed, and it's going to be the Saman is going to be the way we have discussed. So 1 mark for the Saman's report and 1 mark for the borrowing. So there will be 2. Yeah, there will be 2 marks for that. Yeah, that will sum up the 5th question, right? So it's better you say how much out of 10. It's quite easy rather than the 8 question. Right, moving to the 6th question. Anyone who has done the 6th? Okay, right. People just excuse me for a moment. I'll be right back. Yes, Himanati, it doesn't matter. You can go to right. You can see the recordings. Doesn't matter. Himanati is having a class, another class. That's why I'm asking her to leave. All right. So sixth one. Assume that the principal of your school requests you to develop a computer-based system for generating report cards to replace the current manual system. So it's a manual system, right? So asked to develop a computer-based system, right? So like anyway, computer-based system is going to be an efficient one, right? As the accuracy of the report card is very important factor, your IT teacher advises you to determine a suitable deployment approach. So deployment approach means how you are going to install this, right? Now we know there are 4 deployment methods, right? Like the direct deployment, the parallel deployment, the phase deployment, and the pilot deployment, right? State one method that can be used to gather the requirement of the system. Yeah, so like there are many ways you can do the observations, you can do the interviews, you can prepare a quiz and spread it all over the users, right? And you can go through the sample documents, right? And there are many ways, right? So we'll see the marking scheme. Yeah, these are the things: observation, document review, interviewing, questionnaires, surveys, prototyping, those kind of things, right? So 1 mark is given for that particular answer. And the next is asking, state, now you have decided to use the waterfall model to develop the new system, right? They have repeat the new word 2 times. So new system, point out one limitation of waterfall models. Now, you know that waterfall model is a model that requires the user requirement at the very first stage and that cannot be changed over the process. So user should know the exact thing that he wants and he can't do any changes during the development is going on, right? And it is very good for projects which has limited number of requirements. Goda complex requirements waterfall model. And there is another disadvantage, like when in the waterfall model, like it happens one after the other. So when you are moving to a forward pace or like a when you step down to a pace, you can't again step up to another to the previous pace. Like when you are moving to the next, you can't come to the previous again, right? So there will be those kind of limitations, right? So it says final product is available only at the end of the process. Yes, user can't see like during the process what it happens. Not possible to change requirements, as we discussed. All requirements should be identified at start, like we said. Unable to go back to the previous phase. Yes, like we discussed, right? And they are asking what are the alternative models that we can use other than the waterfall. So you can go for iterative, spiral, prototyping, one of those, right? So we'll be granting you marks, right? So 1 mark is given to that part as well. And මේගොල්ලෝ එතන පොඩි වැරද්දක් කරගෙන තියෙනවා ප්‍රශ්නේ දෙනකොට they have said write down an alternative deployment approach. So deployment approach කියලා කියනකොට deployment is about what? direct, parallel, phase, and pilot. So deploy they have given the marks for the deployment part as well, although not relevant to an alternative to waterfall method due to appearance of the term deployment, parallel deployment, pilot deployment, one of those, right? Not everything, because this parallel or pilot is the one which suitable for the deployment for this particular project.
Hello, Daddy.
Hello. Hasik, Mommy's talking to you. Mommy's calling to you. Right, so you can go with the best answer is going to be one of these, iterative, spiral, or prototyping. And we can go for the parallel pilot as well. Very nice, huh? Very nice. Right, so here we move to the other question. So the other question says, yes, the part C, what would be the most appropriate deployment method for the system? So we can't use the direct deployment here because it's very risky. So like if something happens with that system, we don't have any backups. So it is they have said it's a very critical, very important thing about this report generation. So we can't give it a risk by having a direct deployment. Right, reports අතර මග භාගයක් හදාගෙන යනකොට සිස්ටම් එක කැඩුණොත් ඊට පස්සේ ආයෙ reports ටික මුල ඉඳලම බලලා හදන්න වෙනවා, right? Because we don't have any backup. But when you are having the parallel process, so we can, right? So like the parallel deployment is a good deployment method for this. So it is done by manually as well as using the system, right? So even the workload is getting double, we can survive on a problem, as well as pilot deployment. But pilot deployment එකත් එච්චරම හොඳ ක්‍රමයක් නෙවෙයි. මොකද we can have this new system into the primary section and can say, okay, you generate your reports, all your reports from this particular new system, and meanwhile let others to go with the old system. So primary section එකේ report generate කරන අතරතුර මොකක් හරි ප්‍රශ්නයක් වුණොත්, then again it will arise with the problem of the direct deployment. මොකද primary section එකට විතරක් අපි බැලුවොත් අපේ pilot project එක primary section එකේ නම් අපි carry out කරන්නේ, then primary section deployment is something similar to the direct deployment. මොකද ඒගොල්ලන්ගේ පරණ එක අස් කරලා තමයි අලුත් කැර දාන්නේ. හැබැයි ඒගොල්ලන්ට විතරයි. total organization එකට දාන්නේ නැහැ. අපි ඒකයි මේකට pilot කියන්නේ. يعني අපි test කරනවා pilot project එක. Right? Then if it is success, we can apply it to the entire organization. So in marking scheme, they have given the answer for both the things. Phase deployment is not going to be a good answer for this, because you can't prepare your report partially neither. භාගයක් computer system එකකින් හදලා භාගයක් අතින් හදනවා කියන එක it's not a practical thing, right? So the best answers are parallel or the pilot deployment, and they're asking a reason for you to choose this deployment method. So you can say it is safer, less risky approach, kind of things, right? If you got any alternative answers, just let me know. I'll tell you whether they are correct or not, right? All right, so that gives you 1 mark again. So for that part, that is the first part of the 6th question. So 5 marks are given, right? And the second part is talking about some video conferencing tools, right? And as the question says, as the question says, a company with the head office in Colombo and 3 branches in Kandy, Madra, and Jaffna decide to conduct a monthly branch managers meetings using the video conferencing technology. Write down one advantage of using the video conferencing technology for the company. So like basically when it comes to a company, it will save the cost of traveling and all these things. And again, there can be many advantages. Managers can connect with each other, like independent or like without depending on the geographical location. They can have the meeting at a convenient time for everyone, like from anywhere, right? And we can use like what some like advanced tools when we are doing the conversation. Like if you need to show something, we can share the screen like we are doing right over here, right? So those kind of benefits will be there. So in the marking scheme, they says save time, save traveling cost, and there are many, right? So if you got any alternative answers, just let me know. So they have just given only two things, but there are many different answers for this, right? Yeah, in the third part, it is talking about write down one problem the company may face when using the video conference technology. Yes, and just think about the problems that we are facing. We need a good internet connection, and again, internet connection is a must to have a video conference. And you should have the knowledge about how to do a video conference or how to participate in a video conference, right? Those kind of stuff, right? So here this is one of like you can say lack of face-to-face interaction. Yeah, it is a disadvantage. Need for internet connection, high initial or maintenance cost, right? Need technical supports kind of things. So you can take marks for one of those, right? And they are asking about an alternative method because they are currently the above company uses printed letters and memos to communicate with its employees. It decided to use modern technology to replace the current method of the communicating with employees. Recommend a suitable messaging technology for this purpose. So like since they are talking about these official letters and memos, the most suitable one will be the email. The instance messages like WhatsApp and Viber, it's not very much suitable for this, right? So they have given 1 mark for the email. And if you are written with these MMS or instance messages, you are given half a mark. And if you write SMS kind of things, no marks, because we are not sending any letters or anything via SMS, right? So no marks for that. And in the last part of that, they are asking, in addition to the video conferencing and your recommendation in above, state 2 other methods the company can use to communicate with its employees using modern technology. So here they are talking about the communication. So you can give the instance messaging, social networking, right? And SMSs, right? MMSs, you can like have anything, right? So it says 2 of social media, SMS, wikis, forums, online chatting, teleconferencing, instance messaging like WhatsApp and Viber. You can go for any of those. So 1 mark for each will give you 2 marks for that particular part. So that's how 5 marks are being assigned to that second part of the fifth question. All right, sixth question, sorry. So with that, we are coming to the very last question, which is the Pascal related one. And I'm going to do that anyway, because that knowledge will help you uh, to overcome the problems that you are facing with the MCQs as well. So I'm discussing the seventh question anyway, regardless of whether anyone done or not. So here it says, the pseudocode given below reads 2 numbers and displays the larger number, right? So it says start, get A and B. Yeah, there is the pseudocode. Draw a flow chart to represent the above pseudocode. Now, this is easy. If you are given the pseudocode and asked to draw the flow chart, means it's a easy stuff. Other way around is also easy. නේද? සමහරවිට ඒක ටිකක් challenging කියලා කියන්න පුළුවන්, but this is much easier. Right? So how we are going to write? We should start with the start. And after start, get AB is there. So you can write it as it is. Or you can use the words like input, obtain, and like these things. So you can say get A comma B, and it should be inside a parallelogram since it is an input. And then the condition. So condition is in the condition box, right? So it's better you ask the question properly, right? So you should start it from is, right? Because in the flow chart, we always start the questions. In most of the cases, we start the questions from is, not from are, right? So is A larger than B? Question mark should be there. And you can have yes path, and you can have no path, right? So the yes path, you can display the output. You can say display A, right? And in the no path, you can say display B. So why I am writing these things? So this is the condition which is inside the diamond shape. So this is in a if, display A, or which is under the if, means if the condition is true, what to be done, and else indicate if the condition is false, what to be done. So that means in the no part. And again, since this is the if structure, we know it is a selection. Selection means they have to meet on a common path after they deviate. The condition against the path, then it will be like finding each other together again, right? Cross common path. So like after the end if, you have to end the session, so you can end it. And before that, after that, you can connect this particular path to right over here, right? So you can have the flow chart on this manner. You can do it in the top to bottom drawing, as a top to bottom drawing, so it doesn't matter, right? And be careful with the arrowheads. It should be always at the end of the flow, right? Don't put it in the middle of the flow like this, right? That is wrong. And be careful with ears and nose, and be careful with start and end, right? And be careful with the shapes, right? So in the marking scheme, they have given marks for all these things, right? Let's see it. Yeah, here it comes. Yeah, see, so the start symbol should be there. Input A comma B, or enter, or get, read, those kind of things can be there. Right here, they have given the condition in a very simple manner, but it's better you learn the way how to write it properly, right? So no one can reduce marks from your paper, right? And the path can be yes, no, yn, like false, true, ft, anything. So anyway, in the yes part, you should find the output A or display A. Again, you can say like that. And here output B or display B, right? And the stop, right? And the marks they have given for the start and end, they have given 1 mark. And the shapes, the correct shapes and the things, the correct content inside it, If both are there, they have given 1 mark for each. So like input A and B have 1 mark, A larger than B with the correct shape have 1 mark, output B with the correct shape will have 1 mark, and output A with the correct shape will have 1 mark. And for yes and no, they have given 1 mark separately. That's how they like spread the marks. So 1 mark for this start and stop, 4 marks for the shapes and the correct content, and 1 mark for the yes and no parts. And if all those are correct, you are going to have a bonus mark for the completeness, right? So altogether 7 marks will be there. And the very last one is about filling some blanks. So for do that, we have to do the hand tracing part for that particular flowchart. So let's do the hand tracing part. Yeah, and it says there are like 100 students in the class. It describes, suppose a school has conducted an examination of particular subject for 100 students and recorded the mark scored. The given flow chart with blank spaces indicated by A to D is designed to read these marks and display the highest, right? So your motive of your program is to find the highest mark out of 100 marks, right? Identify and write down the appropriate statement for label A, B, C, and D. So how we are going to figure out this thing? So you can see we are going to hand trace this and see how the things are going to happen. So it says starts and it says input X. So then we should have a line for X. Right, we should have a line for X. And they are asking to input something for X. So like we don't know. So we assume a value, let's say it's 10. Then in the next one, so this one is okay. The next one says assign X to max, right? So X is 10, it will be assigned to max. So there will be another variable called max. So it is being assigned with the same value of the X. Right? So this one is okay as well. Then they have something called count. So we need another variable called count. And they said assign 1 for it, right? So 1 will be assigned the count. Then they are facing the condition. So if you consider about this condition, so there are 2 condition box, right? So which has label A and the other one say X larger than max. Now, if you consider this particular condition, if you think about the flows, it deviates due to the condition, but then again, they are coming to a common path. ආයෙත් එක පාරකට වැටෙනවා. මේ පැත්තෙන් ඇවිල්ලත් මෙතනට වැටෙනවා, මේ පැත්තෙන් ඇවිල්ලත් මෙතනට වැටෙනවා. So that means this indicates a selection. Right? So it is the if condition. And this particular flow chart has an iteration as well. එක්ක මේ පාත් එකෙන් iterate වෙනවා. නැත්නම් no පාත් එකේ ගිහිල්ලා ආයි common පාත් එකට එකතු වෙලා iterate වෙනවා. So obviously the other condition should be the iterative condition because we figure out that X larger than max is the selection condition. So this is going to be the iterative condition. One who responsible for iteration and one who responsible to stop the iteration. And we can recognize the iteration by this particular flow as well. මෙයාගෙන් තමයි මෙතන මේ කැරකි කැරකි ඉන්න එක නතර වෙන්නේ නේද? මේ පැත්තට ගයා ඉන්න එක මේ පාරේ ආවොත් නතර වෙනවා. So the one who's stopping the iteration is the iteration condition. So this is an iteration. So for iteration, you can use while, for, repeat until, anything. Okay, so now we figured it out. What are the conditions going to be? One is going to be an iteration, one is going to be a selection. So now our purpose of this particular flow chart is to take 100 values and find the maximum out of it. So that means your iteration should happen 100 times, because in here, from this particular input, we have taken our very first value, which is 10. And then there should be a way to have the other numbers, right? So we have to take 100 numbers, and that should happen inside this iteration. Why I'm saying it should happen inside this iteration? It is inside the iteration is the place where it checks whether it is a maximum value or not from this condition. මෙයාගෙන් check කරලා බලනවා අපි දෙන number එක දැනට තියෙන maximum value එකට වඩා ලොකුද පොඩිද කියලා. දැනට තියෙන maximum value එකට වඩා ලොකු නම් අපි දීපු number එක maximum value එක කරගන්නවා. Right, we will flow through here. So then this iteration condition should help to iterate this particular thing for 100 times, right? Or to, in other words, to take 100 inputs. Ekane me extra inputs 100ක් ගන්න තැනට වෙනකන් උදව් කරන්න ඕනේ මේ iteration එක. So how we are going to count the number of digits or number of marks that we are given? It is from the count. That is why the count variable is there. This will count. And here they have done a printing mistake. For this reason, they have given the marks for this thing. So this should be like count equals count plus 1. It should be something like that. So that particular statement is responsible to increase the count by 1. So why we need to increase the count by 1? Because when we are getting a number, we should say, okay, now one number is given. When we receive the second number, then we have to say, okay, 2 numbers are given. When we receive the third number, 3 numbers are given. So likewise, when we receive the 100 numbers, we have to say, okay, 100 numbers are given. So now stop getting the numbers. That is our requirement. So this iteration should be the one who is responsible of taking the 100 numbers and stopping the taking the numbers after receiving 100 items or 100 values to it. So that means now we are going to recognize how the pattern works. So excuse me. So if 100 numbers are given, this particular count is going to increase until 100 නේද? එතකොට එකක් 10 දුන්නම එකයි කියලා වැටුණා. එහෙනම් 100ක් ආවම මෙයා 100 කියලා recognize වෙන්න ඕන. So count එක 100 වුණාම අපේ iteration එක නතර කරගන්න ඕනේ. number 100ක් ආවම නතර කරන්න ඕනේ. But we are not very sure how to write the condition. මොකද දැන් මෙතන iteration එකේ condition එක you can write it's the count anyway. You are going to face with count. දැන් මෙතන මම larger than 100 කියලා දැම්මොත් what will be happening? So the condition will be checked whether the count is larger than 100 or not. So count is 1 for the moment. So 1 is larger than 100. Now this is a false statement. So that means it's going to go on the no part. So no iteration will happen if the condition is like this. So larger than is not going to be your operator, definitely. So then it's going to be its opposite, right? So can this be an equal sign? Let's try the equal sign and see. So if you put the equal sign, so the question is asked at the very first point, count equals 100. So count is 1 equals 100. And this is false again. And again, it is going to go on the no part. And for that reason, 1 equal 100 is not the condition. So it's going to be count less than 100, and we are having this trouble whether it is less than 100 or less than or equals 100. That we have to determine by looking at the iteration or looking at the pattern. So to figure out the pattern, we have to do the hand tracing for certain steps. So let's do the hand tracing. So we start, we input x, we have given 10. And x will be assigned to the max. So max is assigned with 10. Count 1 is assigned to the count. So 1 is assigned to the count. It's okay. So our condition, let's assume our condition is count less than or equal 100. So here count less than or equal 100. So count is 1 less than or equals 100. It is. So it is less than, not equal, but it is less than. So it's true. So it can go on the yes path then. So it says increment count by 1. So count will become 2. So now 1 is cancelled. And there will be an input box. There is an input box. So that is the only input box we are having here. So this input box can be used to take a number, because you know during the iteration we should have 100 numbers into this. So B is going to be something similar to this input X. Maybe the right? So we said A can be count less than or equal 100, and now B is going to be input X. Right, so input X, they are asking for the second number, so I'm giving the second number 20. So it is being checked. X larger than max. X means 20. Max for the moment is 10. So 20 is larger than 10. Yes. So it goes on this path. So there is something to be done. Something to be done. So it is a process. So what should be the process? If the given number is larger than max, you have to make that number, that given number, as max. Otherwise, you won't be able to figure out what is the maximum number. So that means C is going to be something like this. It's the very same one. Assign X to the max. So C is going to be max equals X. So X will be assigned to the max. So max will become 20. And it goes again to the up now. And the conditions, count less than 100. Now count is 2. 2 is less than 100, but not equal, but 2. So count will be increment by 1. So count will become 3. Input X, I'm saying 15. They check the X and the max. Now the max is 20. Last time max changed into the 20. So this is 20. And this will become 15 now, because it is the number that I have provided. Is this true? No, it is not. So it is goes on this path and continue the iteration. So now you can figure out if we have given something larger than the existing max, it's going to be its number, right? So people, now look at the pattern. So the very first time we input x as 10 and that x is assigned to the max and count becomes 1. එතකොට එතනදී number එක දීලා තමයි count එක එකක් උනේ. But inside the iteration, count increased by 1 first. So මෙයාට පස්සේ තමයි B කියන label එක assign execute වෙන්නේ. කියන්නේ දෙක වෙලා තමයි දෙවෙනි value එක එන්නේ. count එක 3 වෙලා තමයි තුන්වෙනි value එක හම්බෙන්නේ. So in that pattern we can say count එක 100 උනාම තමයි when count becomes 100 it will ask for the 100th value. 100 වෙනි value එක අරගන්නේ count එක 100 උනාම. right එතකොට මේ පේලියෙන් count එක 100ක් වෙනවා. මෙතනින් 100 වෙනි value එක ඉල්ල ගන්නවා. Then that 100th value will be compared right over here. And if it is larger than the existing max, max will be that particular 100 value. If it is not, goes on this manner and comes to this particular place. Now the condition. So now your count is 100. So now it is checking whether 100 is larger than or equals 100. Now it is not larger than, but it is equal. So still it is goes on the yes path. But this is not our requirement. අපිට 100 උනාම කැරකෙන එක නතර වෙන්නේ. මොකද පහළට ගියොත් count එක 101 වෙනවා. And it will be asked for the 101st value. එතකොට අපේ motive එක වර්ධිනවා. අපිට ඕනේ ඉලක්කම් 100 ලොකු එක්ක නාගන්න. So that means you should not have the 100 equal sign. You should not have the equal sign. The equal sign එක තිබ්බ නිසා තමයි මෙයාට පහළට යන්න පුළුවන් වුනේ. If there is no equal sign, 100 less than 100 is a false one. That means it goes on this path. So it will comes here. So we find the D. D means our output. So D should be display what? Your motive, the purpose of the program is showing the maximum value, right? So it should show the variable max because it contains the largest value or the maximum value. So D should be output max, right? So D is going to be output max. So your condition should change like this: count less than 100. In the marking scheme, they says count less than or equals 100, but it's not correct, people. So we witness that thing. So it should be corrected as count less than 100, right? So it should be count less than 100. B is input x, max equal x, then output max, right? So that will sum up the very last question, right? Then මේ ප්‍රශ්නේ කතා කරේම ඔය කියන points ටික ඔළුවට දාගන්න, right? flow chart එකක් කතා බහ කරනකොට නේද? ඕක තමයි ඔයගලන්ට යන්න පුළුවන් highest level එක. මොකද ඔය පාරණ syllabus වල ටිකක් අමාරු ඒවා තියෙන්නේ ඒවා කතා කරන එක හොඳයි. Right? Okay. So just calculate your total and send it to me as a private message. I need to see how those are. And before we exit from the session, has everyone done their 2015 paper? හැමෝම කරලාද ඉන්නේ? Yes, there are 5 students in the room. How about everyone? Amma has done, okay. Sairi, you haven't done it, okay? And Geetaka, you have. How about others? And Duneli and Amashi. How about you two? Do? Have you done it or not? Right. Amashi, only the MCQs, right? Okay. So since Sairi has not done it, let's view the marking scheme by next week and go through it. And people, before I start the question, the 2015 paper, I'm going to go through the last lesson. Like we have discussed some of the subject matters previously with some papers, but I'm going to discuss the rest before we move to the 2015. It's better we finish those things up, right? So I'm going to go through that as well. So once we've done that, we can move to the 2015 question paper. So please complete it, right? And we are going to mark it by next week after we done the lesson. So I'm going to, hold on. We have this 10 minutes we missed last time, Neil. Good. So since Sairi has not done the MCQ, I'm going to jump to the what we call the theory part of the HTML. So let's finish that up and end the session. Like we are having 10 more minutes. Katita Mahansida, right? If you are not very much tired, I can go for that 10 minutes. Otherwise, we can catch it up later. Oh, කියන්න බලන්න මහන්සියද නැත්නම් කරගෙන යමුද? Okay, Cyrus says it's okay. How about others? Right, okay. All right, let's do it. That's the spirit. All right, so I'm moving to the very last part of the HTML where we have script. Like I have shown you the CMS, neither. Yeah, I think I have discussed with this web authoring tool, and I have shown you how the things are happens. People, just confirm me whether we have gone through this or not. I think we haven't නේද මම හිතන්නේ අර web host කරන එක ගැන කියලා දුන්න ඇරෙන්න මම මේක ගැන කතා කරන්නේ නැහැ. No. Okay, let's go from the beginning. Let's go from the beginning. So yeah, the theory part. So web designing software. So when it comes to the web designing software, like we have two different kinds of things, right? Which we call the web authoring tools and content management systems, CMSs. Now in from the questions, so like content management system is to create these dynamic websites and all these things, and web authoring tool is like helping us to edit or helping us to create a web with less hassle. Like you can අපිට ඒක totally hard code කරන්න ඕනේ නැහැ. HTML notepad එකේ ලියනවා වගේම සම්පූර්ණයෙන් ලියන්න ඕනේ නැහැ. So it's into this particular concept called YCYG, right? What you see is what you get, right? So you can use a web authoring tool to do these things, right? To create an HTML, to create a web page with a very easy steps, right? So there are different kinds of web authoring tools, right? Like Composer, like CK Editor, Blue Griffin, right? So I have Composer with me. Let me take that. So I'll show you what's the content inside this web authoring tool. right? Just a second, people. Not in here. Hold on. I remember it was a standalone one. Yeah, so this is a portable version. So there is nothing called install in this thing. So you just copy this folder and put it somewhere you want, then you can execute the code. Right, so it will get executed. So there are some other tools like this, like the very famous tool is called the Dreamweaver, right, which is done by the Adobe company, right? And this goes with this very same way, and it's a simple tool. It's not very weighted one, right? Not yet, baby. I have another 10 minutes.
Are you finished?
Not yet, baby. I have another 10 minutes.
A small request. We'll go out to the class today.
Okay.
Let's go. Christmas Day.
All right, okay.
Let's go. Let's go. Let's watch the video.
Daddy, I need Christmas.
I'll give you a Christmas tree, right?
Let's go. Let's go. Yes.
Right. So, people, now this is the place where you have the where you given the ability to edit the things. So, like you can edit it as you like. Like this is a Word document. You can edit the things, right? We'll see how it happens. So here we can have the cursor and we can type whatever the thing we want, right? So let's say it is, oh, where it has gone. Oh, I think I accidentally closed that. Right? Like, let's say, what we are going to say. Let's say zoo, right? And we can select it and we can increase the font as we want. We can center align it. So it's just working in a Word document, right? Right, so let's have the capital letters zoo. Yes. So now we can enter and decrease the size of it, and we can move it to the other place. And you can change the places and say welcome to the National Park, National Animal Park, let's say. Right, and we can give, like, make it bold, right? If you want, you can increase it a little bit, the size, and you can choose a color using this particular box, right? And you can make it the colors that you want, right? And if you need to insert a picture, you will be given the facility by using insert image, table, forms, and all these things that we talk about through the HTML, right? And you can have list and all these things like the ordered list, unordered list, right? And the this is definition lists, right? Those things can be taken, right? And these are some other things like emphasize and strong emphasize. So like body text, you can have you can change that into what kind of things is it? Is it a header or is it a paragraph, right? And you can have these anchor tags, the links, the images, tables, forms, and all these things. So let's quickly have an image. So let's browse the location. I'll take things from here. Yeah, I'll take it from right over here and say, okay. The image is relevant to the content of the document. You must supply alternate text that will appear in text-only browsers and that will appear on the browser. Okay, okay, okay. So they are asking us to give a alternate text, ALT for ALT, right? So I'm giving CGD and say, okay. So here it comes, right? So it is big in size. So we can select the image and resize it as we want. So it will get resized. Right, and if you want, we can have a hyperlink, right? Let's say enter the text to display the link. Let's say search more, right? So then it asking the target, not the target, the location. So we can give the email address or whatever the thing right over here. Hold on, are they like thinking about enter web page location? Yeah, so like let's take the web page and let's quickly take, I think I have stopped the share in it. Yeah, let's take something about Sigiriya. Right, yes, Sigiriya Wikipedia, yes. We are going to take this particular web address. So we are going to put it into right here, right? And I'm saying, okay, so search more link has happened, right? And if you want, you can have this kind of table. So like we make in a table in a Word document, right? So you can, I'm not going to type each and everything. So if you want to center this particular thing, you can center it as well as this, right? These are not very connected people, so please excuse me for that. And now what we can is we can save this file as HTML. So save as the title for the current page. Let's say it is zoo as we have it. So we are going to save it as zoo.html. I'm going to save it in the desktop for the moment. So I'm saving it. So when you move to that, here is our web page. Simple as that. So once I click this, it will move to the Sigiriya Wikipedia. So it is very easy. Like ned අපි මේක දැන් notepad එකේ type කර හදන්න ගියා නම් නේද කොච්චර වෙලා යනවද නේද දැන් මට බයින්න එපා සර් මෙච්චර ලේසි එකක් තියාගෙන අපිට මේවා කියලා දුන්නා කියලා නේද we are supposed to tell this at the end. And if you want to see the source code, you can see the source code right over here in this source. මේ තියෙන්නේ source code එක ඕන්න ලියවිලා තියෙනවා ඔයගොල්ලෝ වෙනුවෙන් right? The table it is empty because we haven't written anything inside it. It's going to be, and again there are many more what some tags are there which you don't know. Don't bother about those things, and they have used something called style and all these things, right? මේ වගේ ගොඩාක් එකතු වෙනවා. මොකද web page එකක් ලස්සන කරන්න අපි පාවිච්චි කරන language එකක් which we call CSS, cascaded style sheets. If you do ICT for A level, you'll get to know what are those, right? So then it's easy, right? It's very easy, neither. So you can create a web page at a glance, like within like 3 to 4 minutes. ටක් ගාලා page එකක් හදාගන්න පුළුවන්. ඉතින් මේක තව ඊට වැඩිය ගොඩක් ලස්සන කරන්න පුළුවන්, right? I'm just showing you the basic things, right? And on your textbook they have given us some නේද structure එකක්. මේක හදන්න ඕන නම් පොඩ්ඩක් try කරන්න නේද? You can have the shapes for these things, right? ඒව හදනකොට මෙතනින් shape එකක් insert කරගන්න පුළුවන්. එහෙමත් නැත්නම් yeah. Yeah, Geetaka, yes. I'm going to give you where the composer is. Hold on. Okay. I should go with the this is not the place. No, this is something else. It is from K, neither composer. Sorry, my bad. Yeah, you can download from this composer.net. This is the original website, composer.net, right? So this is the web URL. I am sending it to your chat right now. No, Geetaka. We won't be able to take a domain name for this, right? This is just like creating the things, පුතා. ඒ කියන්නේ අපිට web page එක හදාගන්න, අපේ website එක design කරගන්න තමයි composer ඕන වෙන්නේ. If you want to get the domain name, you have to go for something like register.lk. සමහර ඒවා තියෙනවා free domain names issue කරනවා. hostgator ඒ වගේ ඒවා තියෙනවා free domain names. හැබැයි එතකොට අර ඒක අර දැන් මේ www.composer.net වගේ නමක් නෙවෙයි. දැන් මගේ වෙබ්සයිට් එකේ තියෙන starlabs.lk නේ. අපි මම මේක hostgator එකේ host කරොත් ඒකේ නම එන්නේ starlabs.lk hostgator something. එතකොට අර මගේ unique name එකක් නෙවෙයි මට එන්නේ. එනට ඔයගලන්ට ඔක test කරන්න check කරන්න ඒ වගේ third party software එකක් වුණාට ප්‍රශ්නයක් නැහැ. third party domain name එකක් වුණාට ප්‍රශ්නයක් නැහැ. Right? Okay, so people, that is the story regarding the content management system, the composer. So just go through it and experience, right? It's a nice and small software to experience. Make a download karama dola putalta enne it's a compressed one, right? It's a compressed folder. එතකොට ඒක extract කරාම තියෙන folder එක ඒ විදිහටම මේ තියන්න, right? That's dangerous. ඒක ඒ විදිහටම අරගන්න. ඒ කියන්නේ දැන් මගේ folder එක ඔයගලන්ට extract කරාම මේ විදිහට, ඒ කියන්නේ මේ composer මේ මම මේක මේ portable කියලා නම් කරලා තියෙන්නේ. You will be having a folder like this, right? ඊට පස්සේ folder එක ඇතුළට ගියාම there is something called composer.exe. So you can double click and run it. There is no installation procedure. Make a compress කරලයි. So you have to extract it, right? Compress ඒවා දැකලා තියෙනවනේ කට්ටිය නේද? දැන් මේ තියෙන්නේ මේ WinRAR වලින් එන්න පුළුවන්. So මේ තියෙන්නේ compress folder එකක්. So you can right click and you have given the something like this, extract all or extract to this particular folder. So you can extract it. Once you extract it, you can use that, right? Okay, people, so that is about the content management systems, not the content management system, the web authoring tools. So next week, we are going to talk about these static websites and all these things, and going to continue the session. Then after, we are going to move to the 215 paper, and I'm not planning to have the discussion of this lesson all over the 1.5 hours, right? Then we are going to move to the 2015 paper, right? අපි ඔය විදිහට සති දෙකක් තුනක් යනකම් අපේ තියරි ඉතිරි වෙලා තියෙන ටික ඉවර කරගමු. Then we can directly move to the other papers as well, right? Okay, so thank you very much for staying. So we have covered the time that we lost last time. So I'm going to meet you the very same time in the same day, right? So thank you very much. Have a nice weekend, right? Stay safe, right? So I'll see you on next Sunday, right? Okay, bye-bye.